welcome to From the South. I'm Laura Prada from our Telesur studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with our news. You stay with us. We are starting with our news. In Guyana's election commission has still not announced the results of Monday's general election. After Monday's vote, people are still waiting patiently to find out which of the two main coalitions will form their next government. 6 of the country's 10 districts have made their declaration, but counting was halted for a time in the 2 biggest districts.
The elections were properly run. GCOM staff was well trained, but now we're in this last lap of the tabulation system, and GCOM have now gone to a back room. There are people in the back room that is now doing the tabulation process in the absence of any observers or party agents, and then they're bringing it to the front for a verification process, which is in total violation. And then you have a regional officer in Region 6. They finished the tabulation and she's refusing to release the results, which is against the law. And these are unfortunate things that is happening at the last minute, at the last leg of the elections. Of the last leg of the elections that was properly run. These elections were properly run, everything went well, and now we're having this. It's very disappointing.
Anti-Carter Center's Election Observation Mission held a press conference with its preliminary findings, including some issues on election day and with the voters list.
However, as we also know, there's a large increase in the list. There's 660,000 registered voters on the final roll, which seems disproportionate to Guyana's estimated population, and therefore we would recommend for future elections, and we'll give more specific recommendations later, but that the process and the technology used to create and manage those lists get looked at carefully and overhauled with respect to that process.
And in Guyana, days after the general election held on Monday, people are still in the dark as to who won the polls, thus feeding all kinds of speculations. We have more on the following story from Alejandro Kirke, straight from Georgetown.
Shops closing early and streets getting empty in downtown Georgetown. It's fear coming from not knowing who won the elections, either the ruling Partnership for National Union or the left-wing People's Progressive Party.
GCOM have now gone to a back room. There are people in the back room that is now doing the tabulation process in the absence of any observers or party agents, and then they're bringing it to the front for a verification process, which is in total violation. And then you have a regional officer in Region 6. They finished the tabulation and she's refusing to release the results.
Foreign observer missions are wrapping up their work, praising the election process, but cautious about rumors of tabulating fraud and disturbances.
This, for me, at the moment, I see that the biggest issue is this, that all the system is too much manual, calculation-based. It takes time, and of course, this decision to have break is their decision, but I guess that they also, of course, should take into account people away.
Only the Guyanese Election Commission has the authority to declare results. As the country awaits that declaration, the Carter Center urges the key political stakeholders, leaders, to act responsibly.
Diplomats were also satisfied with election day.
My message is just, to wait and hear the tabulation of the results, and then when the Guyanese people have spoken, to accept those results.
I was here in 2015. This is my second election here. The process here is slow because of the checks and balances that goes into it. I fully understand why things are slow, but at the same time, we all want results as quickly as possible. But of course, we want credible and accurate results. And so therefore, that's the important thing. So everybody just needs to be patient and let GCOM do what GCOM needs to do.
The Electoral Commission had promised real-time updates on results since Monday evening. But reporting stopped when 18% of the vote had been tabulated, showing a lead for the opposition.
We are very much disappointed with the delay the results. We expected the electoral machinery, basically GCOM, to have delivered results at least by yesterday or early this morning. So we're still waiting. I mean, we're less than 1 million people, 800,000 persons, not just over 600,000 persons registered to vote and so on. We're very much disappointed.
Marcos da Silva and Alejandro Kirk, Telesur, Georgetown, Guyana.
And the CARICOM Election Observation Mission said it was satisfied with the process of election. Chief of Mission Ms. Cynthia Cambi-Martyr noted that the electoral process was pleasant, efficient, experienced, and generally professional. On the other hand, she highlighted a number of areas for improvement, as it is in the need for more detailed scrutiny of the fingers and hands of voters for any visible signs of previous voting.
Throughout the day, polling progressed smoothly in a peaceful environment and in an orderly manner. There was generally excellent knowledge of the process by the polling officials and compliance with and adherence to the rules and regulations. There were, however, some minor issues which were identified, which were mostly resolved and which, in the mission's opinion, were not significant to materially affect the overall outcome of the poll.
And with this information, we go for a first break. Follow us on Twitter at Telesur English and on my account at Laura P. Telesur. We'll be right back.
De ideologia, é questão de inteligência.
Empobrecimento da sociedade vai levar a um aumento da violência.
La derecha está perdiendo su ropaje democrático, pero se está dando cuenta que en la legalidad no puede avanzar mucho.
A review of the world news that investigates, incites analysis, and induces criticism, because every event has a context.
Pusimos el punto en I.
Dot in the I. Saturdays, only on Telesur.
We're back with our news. Parliamentary elections are approaching in Venezuela, and despite the spread of misinformation and fake news, the radical opposition led by lawmaker Juan Guaidó and backed by United States met with government representatives to select new electoral authorities. Let's find out more on the following story.
All these lawmakers have 9 months left in their parliamentary terms. In 2020, Venezuelans will choose a new National Assembly, a political body that has been at the center of dispute and attempts by the radical opposition to destabilize the country over the past 5 years. As part of the dialogue, lawmakers must first name new members for the National Electoral Council, but problems arise as most of the opposition is divided. Those supporting Juan Guaidó refuse to recognize Luis Parra as the legitimate president of the National Assembly. Since then, the radical faction has held illegal sessions in public plazas and named their own president.
We are ready for whenever they want. It seems it's an internal problem within the opposition. We hope they think about the country and not only their personal interests, so they can sit down and talk to us, as they were doing before. We want to move forward and choose the members of the Electoral Council.
We are doing everything we can to reach an agreement, respecting the law and respecting the Constitution.
To swear in this new commission, the radical wing of the opposition needs to first take their seats at the assembly, as they have only sporadically returned to the building where they must serve their duties to the people.
I don't understand their actions, how they reached this point. I think this confusion is shared by most Venezuelans because they say one thing and then they do the complete opposite.
The strategy of double speech.
I think they've been recognizing Parra for a while. They're recognizing his power. He is the head of the legislative power, and the rest is just a media show. They play that game every day. They call for an election boycott, but at the same time sit down to discuss a new electoral council, and even discuss dates for the election.
There has always been a dialogue, but they have lied to the people. They have always been part of the dialogue, and it's normal, in any democracy, in any parliament, to reach a consensus and debate ideas.
But the opposition listens to the United States and continues lying. They speak of renewing the Electoral Council to choose a new president, when the truth is that the Constitution says these are only legislative elections.
Obviously, they have to do this because they are convinced that parliamentary elections are not enough. There are no presidential elections scheduled this year. We have a democratically elected president.
The democratic opposition and the government of President Nicolás Maduro have discussed, among other things, 15 electoral guarantees. They also called on the radical opposition to approve of the new electoral council and swear them in, saying that if they don't, the Supreme Court would be forced to elect the new electoral authorities.
And from Venezuela, we move on to Brazil because a rescue operation is underway for 32 people who are missing following landslides that killed 19 people in the state of Sao Paulo. The rains overnight caused landslides in the coastal cities of Gurajá, Santos, and São Vicente. Among the dead was a fireman who was buried as he tried unsuccessfully to save a mother and her baby boy. The number of victims is being updated, and the fire service says there could be more landslides.
I lost 4 members of my family, my sister, my mother, my stepfather, and my sister-in-law. So far, I've only found my sister. Many people are there, and there is no structure, no possibility to go up there.
Costa Rica's Minister of the Presidency, Victor Morales, has resigned over allegations of violating citizens' private information. Morales is accused of creating a data analysis unit which collected citizens' confidential data without their consent. His departure is the third in a row after Finance Minister Juan Alfaro and Vice Minister of Planning Daniel Soto resigned on Tuesday over similar allegations. Meanwhile, in Colombia, new evidence of vote buying for President Iván Duque have emerged during the wiretapping of a drug trafficker. Now deceased drug trafficker José Guillermo Hernández alias Ñeñe was wiretapped at the request of the Prosecutor's General Office for a murder case. However, coincidentally, a phone call was also recorded when Ñeñe revealed that he stole money that was meant for buying votes in the Caribbean region for Germán Vargas Lleras in the first round and apparently used this to buy them from Duque in the second round. Ñeñe, who was killed in May 2019 in Brazil, was one of Duque's main guests at his inauguration ceremony in August 2018. Meanwhile, in Mexico's Financial Intelligence Unit has frozen over 12,000 bank accounts linked to crimes such as money laundering and child pornography. The head of the Financial Intelligence Unit provided details of the investigation, saying it focused on the illegal collection of donations and an alleged child pornography network inside the church of religious leader Nason Joaquin Garcia. The freezing of these accounts is linked to multiple crimes ranging from fuel theft and drug and human trafficking, as well as tax fraud and corruption. Joaquin Garcia was arrested in June 2019 in the United States, where he's accused of 26 crimes, including child sexual abuse and distribution of child pornography. Moving on, former New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg dropped out of the Democratic presidential candidate race and endorsed Joe Biden after a disappointing performance on this Super Tuesday. The billionaire, who has already spent more than $500 million campaigning, announced on Wednesday morning that he was ending his bid for the nomination. His rivals recently accused him of attempting to buy his way to the White House. Meanwhile, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders won California state after Super Tuesday, a state which has more delegates than any other in U.S. As former Vice President Joe Biden made a comeback by picking up Texas, which has the second highest number of delegates, and a series of wins across the U.S. South and Midwest. Tuesday's results have turned the once crowded race into a two-horse race between Sanders and Biden. In addition to California, Sanders also won the states of Vermont and Colorado, while Biden took Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Oklahoma, North Carolina, and Virginia. Time for another short break. You stay tuned with us.